Hello, Brenton. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Beautiful, my man. And thank you so very much for being here. I truly appreciate you. And Brenton, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Brenton, for investing in yourself. You are on this platform right now because you did invest that in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. Some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Brenton, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves are all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But Brenton, just recently, I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately, I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it. Beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Brenton. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a beautiful experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Brenton that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, the impact your work is having, and how you're offering your solutions. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Brenton is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we had a day with the incredible Brenton. So thank you so very much for doing that to yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, man.
My pleasure. I'm always open to a story about a mango because there's nothing better than a ripe mango. So
Tell
I'm
you,
honored.
man. My man, thank you so very much. So let's get started. I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Brenton, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I don't want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible Brenton on the show is for the sake of the audience. My man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got lots of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Brenton, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Brenton got here. Then afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Brenton, over to you.
My name is Brenton Harrison. As you said, I'm a financial advisor. So I help people manage wealth, grow wealth, learn about finances. And since I started my career, I've had a real focus in people who have never been wealthy before. So there's a lot of people of my industry who try to find and seek out people who come from a long line of money. And we've kind of taken the opposite track. We try to be the source of knowledge, of education, And we do that in many ways. So every day we kind of wake up with the goal of making it a little bit easier for someone who's never been exposed to money to feel comfortable with money.
Wow, that's amazing. And that's a great one you're doing. I love it. I love it. So I've got some questions here. All right. So let's look at it from the aspect of debt. All right. So how can someone build wealth while navigating massive debt?
The first rule to navigating debt is understanding the debt. Finances can be very intimidating. The kind of the story that I tell to make people understand how it feels to not know what you're doing with money is, you've probably seen someone either in your country, the States, a Spanish speaking country where they don't know the language, but they're trying to navigate their world, right? So they need to make an order at the grocery store. They need to pump gas, but they don't know how to speak the language. So they're a little hesitant, right? They go up to the counter and they don't quite know what to say because they don't know how to articulate what they're trying to do. It's the same with finances. It's like you have to still navigate the world, but you don't know the rules or the language of that world. So navigating debt, you have to understand how the debt works. How can you position it? What are your payment options? How does the interest rate work? And then when you understand the rules, you can figure out how to fit a plan for paying it back alongside a plan for growing wealth. And I think that's the step that a lot of people miss. What they try to do is they try to get rid of all of the debt first and then build wealth. And sometimes you just owe too much debt to do that. You have to figure out a way to do both at the same time. So to me, I encourage people to understand the rules of your debt and to try to strike a balance between paying down the debt while also being able to save and invest for yourself.
Amazing. Understanding the rule of your debt. Wow. I got that. And I love the story, the analogy. That's a great one. So what about this one? Why can making good money actually be dangerous? Can you talk to us about that?
There are a ton of pitfalls to making a lot of money, especially if everybody else around you isn't making a lot of money, right? So I don't come across
Mhm.
many people. You don't come across many people who just don't care about their community, right? Like if you live in a house with 5 other people, even when you move from that house, you're going to care about those other 5 when you leave, right? So if you grew up with siblings or a parent and all of a sudden you're doing really well financially and they're not doing as well, if they need something, you're going to be there to help them. And
Right.
that's not a problem, but it is a problem when you don't necessarily have someone to teach you how to help someone else financially while also building your own wealth, right? So
Mm,
it's like you're navigating your journey for the first time with nobody before you who's ever done it. And you also have more responsibility than someone who might have done it before you, right? So the juggling of all of those things makes it very difficult, along with the fact that a lot of the things that we teach ourselves about money are incorrect, right? We're creating stories about how money works. And when you're dropped into an environment that's very different from the one in which you grew up, and you were already probably telling yourself incorrect stories about the one in which you grew up,
mm,
you're just kind of lost, right? So you in a perfect world would have guidance, you'd have mentors, you'd have people who've been exactly where you've been to tell you, hey, here's how I did it, so that you can chart your own path with some foreknowledge. But when you have none of that, it just creates these minefields where you have more people depending on you, but you also have more at risk. And there's no one that's going to help you if you fall because you're the only one around you in that situation.
mm. I can relate so well. And you see, I had to I had to learn mine the hard way, man. You see. So I got that. All right. So what about this one? Okay, let's go with this. So what inspired you to move into financial services?
I actually wasn't inspired. I was inspired to stay, but I wasn't inspired to enter. I entered because I needed a job. So, I thought I was going to be doing something radically different. In school, I thought I was going to go the corporate route. I thought I was going to be, putting on a suit every day and doing high level consulting and mergers and acquisitions and all of these types of things. And then I graduated in 2008, 2009, when the whole economy for the world was shut down. So nobody was hiring at all. And I worked at this job in Florida that I couldn't stand for a little less than a year. Moved back home, very quickly, like, hey, I can't do this. And was just walking around town trying to find a job. And I walked into the office of a financial services company. And because there was no salary, you got to eat what you kill, for lack of a better term, they hired me on the spot. So that's how I got into the industry. There was no inspiration. It was just, hey, I can make some money here. Nobody else is willing to pay me. But I stayed because I started trying to help the people around me that I thought were doing okay financially. My parents, my aunts and uncles, the people I went to church with growing up who drove nice cars and lived in nice houses. And I made some assumptions about what that meant in terms of their financial health. And then you start talking to them and you realize they're no better off in terms of their ability to, live for the future than someone who makes a fifth of what they make. So I realized that there was a real opportunity to go to those communities and be the source of financial literacy. And that's what inspired me to stay.
And that's a beautiful one, my man. Thank you so very much for staying. So, how do you help people remove the stigma of being behind financially?
There are some things that I have found over the years are the best tools to get someone to respond. Because when you're in my industry and you focus on the audience that I focus on, most of them have never worked with a financial advisor before. So there's some hesitance, right? It's just like walking up to that counter, and when you don't know the language, you're not confident. So I try to do two things. The first is I try to make sure that they're aware that a lot of the stuff that you see online or on TV when it comes to financial preparedness is made up, right? It doesn't mean anything. It's designed to get clicks. It's designed to get views. There is no like archetype of a person that has the perfect finances that everybody else should copy. It's just a made up rule of thumb that may be a little helpful, but you can't let yourself be stressed out when you don't look like that person that they're modeling on TV. So people often get some relief from that, right? Like, hey, just because it says I'm behind when I look at this article on finances doesn't mean that I'll never be able to have a strong financial life. The second thing that I found is very helpful is to tell them where I've struggled. And that may seem odd, to be asking someone to trust you financially and then be telling them all the ways that you messed up. But the fact of the matter is financial advisors mess up with their own finances as well. And there's something about being able to tell someone, I have actually made that mistake. I have recovered from that mistake, or I'm still trying to recover from that mistake. And here's what it taught me. Because it lets you know, or lets them know, I'm talking to someone who understands what I'm going through. They're not giving me advice on something they've never experienced. And also I feel a closer relationship to this person because now I don't feel like they're talking at me or talking down to me. They're talking with me, and I feel more comfortable opening up.
Beautiful, and that's a smart one. That's really smart. Okay, so we have two more to go. Okay, so what is the best way to grow wealth while paying off student loans?
Balance. So to me, I want you to have the right orientation and the right priority in terms of what comes first. And to me, what comes first is your own financial wellness. If I owe somebody $10 and I have the ability to save on my own and I have nothing saved on my own, I got to save something for myself first. And it's not because I'm not going to pay back that $10. It's because if I give them all my money now and I don't have any left for myself, the next emergency that comes up, I got to go borrow $10 again, right? So you have to understand that no matter how motivated you are about paying down your debt, you have to put aside money for yourself first. And then once you've put aside at least a small amount for yourself first, where if there's an emergency, you can cover it without borrowing money, then you find the balance of, if I have $5 left at the end of the month, is there a balance where I give $2.50 towards the debt and $2.50 towards myself, right? Or is it $3 towards the debt and $2 towards myself? But you have to have a mix. There are people out there who swear by the system of, save a minimal amount and then just don't save any more until you've paid down all your debt. And that may work if you have really, really small debts. But if you're trying to achieve big things and you also have big debts, it's going to take a really long time to pay off those debts. So that balance is what allows you to achieve both in a substantial and substantive way.
Yes, I got that. That's a great one, and thank you for explaining that way. Okay, so finally, you have a podcast as well. Can you talk to us about your podcast?
Yeah, so our main podcast, because we actually operate two, is the New Money, New Problems podcast, and that speaks to the audience that we're trying to target. We're trying to target people who are making money that they've never seen before. So that comes out every Friday, and we make sure that those episodes give information on questions that people want to know financially but are afraid to ask. So that's every Friday. And then we also have a specialty in student loan debt. So we have a podcast that comes out every other week called the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast as well.
Oh, beautiful. So how has the journey been so far? For how long now?
It's been about 3 years, and it's been something that's been really, it's been really unique. It's not easy to do a weekly podcast, right? And have something new to talk about every Friday. So it can sometimes lead to some long nights, and I edit it myself, so that can be difficult, even though we have a team that helps me distribute it. But it's been so rewarding to be able to say that you've done something with that level of consistency, and with each passing year, see it grow a little bit more and come across people who have been touched by what you're putting out. So that kind of gives me the motivation to keep going. I was really overworked a couple of weeks ago, and we're still trying to put out episodes. And I was on a jog. I was running through my neighborhood, and I ran past this person that I hadn't seen in like 6 or 7 years, and definitely didn't know that they were following what we were doing. And they called out to me, and I stopped what I was doing and ran over to them and was talking to them for about a minute. And before I ran back to my route, they said, "Hey man, I'm loving the podcast. I read your emails every week. Keep doing what you're doing. It's really valuable information." So to me, I'm like, man, that's crazy. I hadn't seen this person in almost a decade, but they've been paying attention to the podcast and listening and reading our emails. So it gives you that motivation to let you know that people are being impacted by what you're putting.
Beautiful. Keep going. That's a great word. So what would you like to leave the audience with, my man, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or become a listener of your podcasts, how can that be possible?
Yeah, I don't think that finances are the only area where the thing people, keeping people back is just being intimidated. I think there's in every area of my life where I feel I've made progress, seeking out knowledge and information has been helpful. Not being afraid to ask a question has been helpful. So I would encourage people, if it's finances, don't be afraid to ask somebody a question. Don't be afraid to pick up a book and learn a little bit more. And that translates into all areas of life. And it's something that's been valuable to me. And I think it's been valuable to our audience. In terms of finding us, whether you're interested in the New Money, New Problems podcast or our firm or the Escape Student Loan Debt podcast, the center for all of that information is our website, newmoneynewproblems.com. And you can subscribe to our newsletter there as well at newmoneynewproblems.com/subscribe.
Beautiful. So that's going to be the end of the show, my man. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this very, very insightful information with us. It means a whole lot, man. Thank you.
My pleasure.